Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, Mega Ruler 31, and because you've been asking for it, I'm going to try this. So, just a little sneak peek here. And again, this is it's not official yet. It's just still a work in progress, but going to maybe try an NFL video. So, here's kind of the format that I've gotten from your comments of things that you're looking for. So, take a quick peek at it and see, if this is what you're kind of looking for. Again, I just started to throw some names out there. Maybe we'll do it, see how it goes. If it gets good response, we'll continue to do it. If not, then nothing ventured, nothing lost. Then we'll just discontinue that and continue on with what else we do. So back to baseball here. Got two slates today. I mean, FanDuel's got like 30 slates today. Like they have everything broken up, which is annoying early. So they have like 3-game very early, and then their like early slate starts with like the afternoon games and then throws in the 6:40 games. So, but DK is pretty much just like the games before dinner time. So pretty much everything I focus on here for the stacks and projections or stacks and pitchers will be DK focused, but I will do the FanDuel breakdowns for early and very early and just kind of talk through those generally. Okay, so first game we have is Milwaukee and the Pirates. We have Freddie Peralta and looks like Selby, and it looks like maybe another pitcher will be coming in. I don't know if it's a bullpen game or or what's going to go on there, but Selby's only gone like a couple innings, so even if they do bring in somebody else, I'm not super excited about it. I think DK had that they're going to have I think there's somebody decent behind him, but let me just see. Like I haven't seen anything verified yet. They have that Keller is going to be potentially a long reliever. So I don't know. It's a price tag of 8,900. I don't not super interested in that because it's not a guarantee that it's going to happen. Like we saw that earlier in the season with Boston, and everybody thought like somebody might be coming in after an opener that was a well-known pitcher, and it didn't happen, and then it did by surprise one game. But again, safety wise, I'm just not going to touch that situation. But I do like Peralta, definitely probably top one of the top pitchers on the slate here between he and Wheeler. It's definitely a great matchup in Pittsburgh. It's a pitcher's ballpark, even though it is hot there. So, that does help the ball fly a little bit more. The way the park is constructed should mitigate that. And the way the Pittsburgh Pirates are constructed should also mitigate that. So, and I definitely like the Milwaukee bats here. They're cheap besides Yelich. Most of them are in the 4K or lower range there. So they're very easy to stack or do as a secondary stack. Pittsburgh would just be a leverage stack. Minnesota and the Guardians, 87 degrees in Minnesota, wind blowing out 11 miles per hour. Chance of rain here, but does look like they should get most of the game in before anything really heavy starts to come in. I just put it there as just a note just to kind of remind me. Joe Ryan and Gavin Williams. Ryan, I think, is definitely in play here. Again, Cleveland doesn't have much power, and they annoy you with like some hits and stuff, but they're not as bad as like Washington. So not super interested. Besides Jose Ramirez, I mean, Josh Naylor's back, so that should help. I mean, they picked up Calhoun, so they've got some pieces here, but they just really aren't putting together a lot consistently. So I think Joe Ryan's fine here if you want to pay up for pitching, and 9K is not too bad for him. Gavin Williams, I think a lot of people will be off him, but I think I kind of like him in GPPs because he is decent. Minnesota is obviously a high strikeout team to take advantage of, and people are going to look at the box score and see that he lasted one inning against Minnesota, and he was done. But if you look closely, like he had a cramp or something. He's fine now. He should be able to go out there and pitch a normal game. It was just something like dehydration. So as long as he's drank enough Gatorade, well, I'm drunk, but as long as he's drank enough Gatorade or electrolytes and stuff, he should be fine, even though it's 87 degrees. out there. So I think he's definitely in play for you. Also, bat wise, the Twins are a GPP stack. They're always cheap and a decent fill in. And Cleveland, same thing. Uh Wrigley Field yesterday. I I thought they would do so much better. I mean, Suzuki had a home run. Talkman got pinch hit for by Wisdom after one because the Giants have this stupid thing where they mix and match pitchers, and I think that kind of mitigated the Cubs, but I don't know. It's so annoying. It's just like what Tampa Bay did like 5 years ago. But obviously it's working, it's effective. And the coach pretty much said, if I had like a Max Scherzer, or I had like a Strider to throw out there, I'd do it and pitch traditionally, but we don't have that. So we're working with what we have and we're winning games because of it. So I get it. So wind blowing out, dead center field, 12 miles per hour again, 82 degrees, another good hitting situation. And we have Bariba, and I don't know who might be coming in. Maeda was supposed to yesterday, but I don't believe he pitched at all. So he might be there also. So I don't know. God only knows what San Francisco is going to throw at you pitching wise. So I'm not interested. Wicks on the other side, if you want to take a shot at him in cheap, I think it's kind of risky here with the wind blowing out. Uh, but I mean, he hasn't been horrible. He pitched at Cincinnati, which is a hard ballpark, and only gave up one run there. 3 walks, 3 Ks, and before that with Pittsburgh, he had 9 Ks, and San Francisco does have some Ks in this lineup. So if you're looking for a cheap SP2 and a GPP, I don't think it's out of the question. It's just a little bit scary with the wind, and obviously San Francisco did well hitting yesterday, and probably throw a full right-handed lineup out there. You just will probably go down on the bottom and be the only left-hander in there for. So bat wise, Cubs, I think got to be the top stack again. I'm a little hesitant on Troutman. Also see that potentially like Woods might come in after Bariba, or maybe pitch. I don't know. But still doesn't matter again. I don't know. Talkman, I'm a little hesitant on after the pinch hit thing last night. I think a lot of people will be too. So we'll proceed with caution there. But the rest of the guys should be good. And Suzuki, again, just continues to really, he changed his approach or whatever. And it's just been so effective since the All-Star break. So I really like him. In San Francisco bats, I think definitely make a cheap stack against a young left-handed pitcher with a lot of right-handed power. Blue Jays and the Athletics, actually, Waldichuk was not a bad play last night. We talked about it in the video, and he wasn't horrible. So I think that is definitely. Let's see what he ended up with. I mean, Bassett came out and did his thing. That's what we expected. And the runs came later on. Fadot was not good, so I do apologize for that. But I think it's the same situation here today, where you have like Ryu against an Oakland team who should be pretty good, and in this matchup, and Walchuk had 15 DK points yesterday, so that's not bad. So I mean, Sears in a similar situation. I'm in the no interest, but in a small slate, maybe take a stab at him, because we talked about yesterday the ISOs of the right-handed hitters against lefties are not what you expect from a Toronto team that's a full like as solid right-handed. Springer has not been great. Guerrero has been embarrassingly bad. So your biggest ones are Schneider at second base, Merrifield, Kirk has been good, and then I mean you've got some other lefties in here, and Clement and Espinal from time to time, maybe flashes of brilliance, but nothing consistently that scares you. So Sears and deep GPPs, or if you're mass multi-entering on such a small slate, if they even let you play 150 lineups in a 6-game slate, then I think, 5% or less of your player pool potentially. I think Ryu is definitely a guy that I like in the medium. If you don't trust Williams with his cramp against Minnesota, who's been putting up a lot of runs, then I think, he's your guy that you want there. Toronto is definitely my third favorite stack here. again, they're Toronto. They can put it together at times, like we said about San Diego yesterday, and they came out and they actually did it. So maybe this is Toronto's day. Like Toronto did end up like against the bullpen, and that's another factor is A's bullpen is not good, and they gave up 7 runs to Toronto yesterday overall throughout the game. So there's definitely an opportunity for them to put up runs potentially here. So I like them. And next game we have is Colorado Rockies and the Diamondbacks. And again, I thought Fedot was in a good place, and he just struggled. Zach Davies has had some good outings. Also, he's one of the cheapest pitchers on the slate, and he's up against Chris Flexen. So I think that I'm willing to go back to the well for a cheap pitcher on Davies again today as my SP2, even in cash. Flexen, I'm not interested in. Colorado, I think are cheap or going to be leverage if a lot of people like Davies like I do. And then Arizona is my second favorite stack on the slate behind the White Sox. And then finally, we have the Phillies and the Padres, Wheeler and Waka. Like I said, Padres finally put it together and went off yesterday. Maybe they got out of their system, so I think I like Wheeler. It's between Wheeler and Peralta as whoever you want as your SP1. So, make your pick here. I think there's cases for both of them. And then Waka on the other side, I'm not interested in. I think Philly would be probably my 4th favorite stack. And I think Wheeler will have a lot of ownership. So I think San Diego becomes a leverage stack. So let's look at the builds here. So I'm taking Peralta. If you want to go Wheeler, no problem. I get it. SP2, probably going to take Davies, and then I'm going with Toronto. I think this could be their day. Toronto works really well with Milwaukee. So however you want to stack them. If you're not feeling Toronto, like I said, with the ISO, then I took the 2 guys that I can count on against left-hand pitcher, Merrifield and Schneider. And then if you want to go with the rest of it, and then maybe take Kirk as your catcher if it works. And if you want to go the rest of it, all Milwaukee, that's fine. If you want Contreras as your catcher, and you want to go like Kiermaier, even though it's lefty and lefty, he's been hitting consistently and getting points at a low price. So he's a decent point per dollar play. So that's where I'm going to go in cash. For GPP and DK, give me Williams. And then for SP2, I mean, there's so many you can play down, you can pay up, you can do a lot of different things.